Good morning. This is the Geneva Shore Report. I'm George Belushi Jr., and this is the left jab.
And I'm Lisano with the right cross coming right at you.
We talk about local and national politics and just about everything else we might want to that doesn't involve the weather, which is just terrible this winter. I was looking up heated bird feeders. When you heated bird baths. Because birds don't have anything to drink during the winter when it's below zero.
Do those things actually exist? Do they exist?
Yeah, they're $45.
Oh, don't tell my
Yeah,
kids.
but they only take like 7 or 8 watts, so they're really cheap to run. And that way your birds can have something to drink. In particular, like here where it's so cold.
Yeah.
For so long, we're on a long bout of below zero.
Okay.
Speaking of that, it's pretty cold in Washington, D.C. with the politics going on. As the Republicans, the lawyers for Trump, provide their defense today after the rather damning presentations by the Democrats of what happened on January 6th.
You mean rather over the top, dramatic?
Well, it's called television.
Yes.
We've been watching that, yes, and television shows and the news have gotten overly dramatic.
Oh,
and,
yes.
away from the analytical, and that's part of the problem we have with the complaints that are rolling in all the time about fake news. What is fake news and what is not? It's very difficult to ascertain what's real anymore today. But what's real is by presidential decree, President Biden is withdrawing all the work requirements that were attached to Medicaid so that people can finally get medical care even if they don't have some sort of a job. And I think that's great news, just as he rescinded the whole child thing, separating them from parents down at the border. So some good things on the left are happening.
Okay. Let's step back a little bit. Medicare, there's been state insurance for anyone who doesn't work. They do not have to pay, and they do not have to work to get it.
Yeah, that's been around for
always been in place.
a long
And
time.
our borders are a mess. Our borders are a hideous mess right now. They have no idea if kids are with their parents or not with their parents. We have restrictions on travel because of the pandemic and the COVID. The borders are just flocked with people coming in. There's no way to check them. There's no way to test them. There's no way to do, and they're coming in by the thousands.
Have you been to the border? No, interesting.
But have you
Oh yeah.
really?
Uh-huh.
Like in the last week or two?
Well, I don't travel
No.
on a daily basis to the border to see what's
Okay.
going on, but I've been there many times.
Okay, because Texas is beside themselves right now.
Well, Texas is besides itself anyway because it's
Yeah.
so far right, it's ready to fall off the planet. Anyway, aside from that, and with what's going on in Washington, which is taking up, of course, all the time of the Senate,
Again.
the House can work, but the Senate can't, which means that the word stimulus is nowhere on the horizon that I can see. They did order, Biden ordered 200 million more of the vaccines, which is good news from the left. I mean, it's about time that we ordered these vaccines in such huge supplies that there should be an oversupply. They should not have any problem. And they expect to get almost everybody vaccinated now by the end of May, which is extraordinary. That was on television
I just
last
read
night.
it this morning. It was July was the absolute earliest. That's what I heard, and that was from a left news site.
What's the left news site you're watching?
Oh, well, I try not to. I'm the right over here. But yes, once in a while. I mean, it's hard not to watch them. Almost all of them are left. They are all owned by the left side, and if it doesn't fit their narrative, it does not get.
Well, actually, it's not true.
Sent
They're
out
not
to
all
the-
owned by
Not all.
leftists. No,
90,
almost none of them are.
95% are owned by
Oh, that's not true.
very strong, progressive, democratic.
Not true. Not true at all. I mean, Disney is not strong, progressive, democratic. Please.
Disney is not a news channel.
No, but they own news channels.
They own ABC, they own ESPN, they own.
Thank you. You're not supposed to only the cameraman, but she's chiming in.
MSNBC.
They have a whole family of.
MSNBC and CNN and all of those, all the ones that are covering this.
Well, we could argue about the ownership, but usually ownership involves lots of big money for the media, and most of big money is not left, is not, is very much usually Republican. When you look at the big corporations and stuff, they usually don't lean left. And that doesn't mean that's not what they say they do.
They all lean towards the money. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter left or right. They're all about themselves. They're all
Well,
about
that's how
making
the
money.
media changed.
Let's see. The last Republican president we had gave up his wealth and donated it, and gave up his salary and donated it. The one that just came in pretty much gave up our country for his wealth with the money that his son gets from China and other places.
Well, you don't
and
know
all
that
these
for a
different-
fact either. I mean, you're listening to this right-wing wacko stuff. We don't have any idea of what the president's son gets in income from China, because if he was getting income,
Because the
it
left
probably
news
wouldn't be reported.
won't cover it.
Cover what?
They were told not to even talk about it before the election on any MSNBC. And
Well, you
CNN
gotta get
or
more
anything like that.
specific if you're gonna
You-
talk like that. You
they
can't
had
just say the left
pre-recorded
wing.
the owners of MSNBC and the editor-in-chief at CNN. They had a recorded, like, I don't even know, it was like over a month of morning briefings. They were not allowed to even talk about it. They were not allowed to bring it up. All of their reporters, their staff, they were told not to mention it because
but
the election was coming.
Where's this news coming from? Because you weren't there. You weren't
I
at the
listened to
border.
the
and you weren't
record.
there.
I listened
What
to some of the
report?
recorded phone calls. I listened to some of the
Where'd you
recorded
hear
phone
this?
calls.
What are you listening to on the
The
television?
recorded phone
What
calls.
station are you
I don't
listening
know
to
what
on
station I heard that on, but and this was before the election or right after the election when they aired the phone conversations.
And who owns MSNBC anyway?
I don't know.
Okay. Now that is a level playing ground there. Anyway, what we're seeing today will be more, and hopefully the end, I guess they have to vote. Hopefully they would vote today and be done with this, because it's obvious the Republicans are going to vote to not impeach him, and the Democrats will vote to impeach him, and there we will go. They did show a lot of interesting films that we had never seen before, a lot of video that came out that was pretty damning as far as the attachment they had, those rioters, to the White House at the time. And whether he was actually calling anybody or telling them what to do, I don't think was well presented, but a lot of the people going felt that he was in contact with them and sending them, and what that had to do with it. I think it's pretty much proven just from watching the videos that the rioters were not made up of
Yeah.
costumed left-wingers that were making believe they were Trumpers. It's pretty evident that that was part of the very far right. Now, whether you identify that with totally with Donald Trump or not, it happened on his watch, and there's a certain responsibility, like Navy ships at sea. If there's an accident with a Navy ship, they have a formal naval hearing, and usually the commanding officer head rolls in that situation, and he may have been asleep at the time. There's an innate responsibility we hand to our leaders for what happens underneath them. Hillary Clinton paid that price for Benghazi when she could have absolutely not known or not had anything to do with it for days after it happened, because secretaries of state are so high, they aren't notified of what goes on at the embassy level, especially when it's an ex-embassy, ex-ambassador, and all of that. But she's still, her head rolled over the Benghazi. And so this is the situation that we're in right now, but I think probably impeachment is not, it doesn't much matter. I think he's been damaged so much that we won't see the rise of Trump again, or that kind of cult movement, in my opinion.
Okay. Cult is a terrible
Yeah.
word to put with the whole thing.
Well, I
It is
think,
so not cult-like.
oh, I think it fits because
No.
people who get imbued with that, nothing will
No.
sway them. He was right when he said that he could murder someone in Central Park or on Times Square and no one would care. He
Yes,
made
they
that
would.
Yes.
But if someone from the left did it,
He made that statement. And,
it would be hid. It would be covered up. If Trump did it, it would be everywhere.
Yeah.
It'd
be worldwide
It would be
news.
worldwide. It
Yeah.
would be the hugest thing. He takes more criticism and he is critiqued harder than any other person
Yes.
has ever been
The
in
wonderful
that office
thing is
or in
that
politics in general.
he's still not back on Twitter, and we don't have to listen to him every day.
Freedom of speech, First
And the
Amendment.
insanity of the 32,000
Freedom of
lies he
speech,
told
First
while in
Amendment.
office. He told one right
Biden
to that
tells
group
lies
of-
all the time.
I'm not interested in association.
time.
Johnny did it, so I can do it, Mom. Never worked when I was a kid. And it's not working
know.
now. You don't just change the
standards.
conversation. No,
Double
you're
standards.
changing the conversation. I'm talking about the fact that he told the people that rioted that he was coming to join them, and he once again lied. He did not. He ran and hid in the White House, which is what he does. He does not
And
go
for 3
fight.
months.
He sends other people to fight, and then he cowers, which is what he did.
And for 3 months, we had buildings burning, small businesses being destroyed, families' livelihood being destroyed. We had police stations being burned
And
down. We had police
doing
having
the
to
same thing.
evacuate. Listen,
Johnny did
listen,
it, so I
no,
get to do it
no.
too. That's
But when has the left ever even acknowledged that all that really happened and that they
We're
condoned
talking
it and
about-
encouraged it?
we're talking about the
We're talking
politics
about
in
one
Washington right
riot
now.
compared to an entire summer of families and lives being destroyed.
Which isn't true either. Those were very minimal and they're very much
Very
overplayed.
minimal.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
Yes. No.
Kenosha's not rebuilt.
Whoa. None of them are even rebuilt yet. They're still.
Oh yeah, Minneapolis is just in tatters. So is Portland, Oregon. They're just ashes.
are.
They were all burned down.
They're,
Oh bull! Less than half a block.
Oh,
Please. Have you ever been to
wow.
these big cities?
billions of dollars in damage. These families, these people are.
This is the problem we have with the right: is they just make it up as they go along.
Oh God, we watched it. MSNBC. The reporter stood there and said it's mostly peaceful as things are being destroyed behind him. Flames, cars, people. It was insane. It's mostly peaceful. What?
There you have problems.
And
Right
that
there.
was from their station.
the
From
problem.
the.
Well, this is the problem we get into today. It was he said, she said, right?
No, the visual, like, I don't know
No,
how
that's
you can't
your
see.
saying
Well,
that.
No, wait.
Wait, we
You're
have a
saying that
comment.
they said that.
Okay.
Yes, we have a comment from Scott. He would like George to drive to downtown Kenosha.
Which part? Which part? There's tons of Kenosha.
Oh,
Kenosha's
okay, it was
the
only
second
2 or
largest
3
city in
blocks.
all
So
of
it's,
Wisconsin.
it's only 2 or 3
I went
blocks
there.
that were destroyed.
I went there right
and
after.
And it was
horrible.
horrible.
It was horrendous. Yes,
It was horrible.
There
I've
was-
never seen anything like that.
Like it in my life.
Well, you guys don't get
What?
out much, do you?
Wow. It was. Oh.
Yeah, there was some
Okay.
destruction there. There's no
Oh,
question
some
about that.
destruction, and it was innocent people who.
And they
had
were all
nothing to do
local
with politics.
businesses,
They were
yeah.
destroying their
I
own
don't
neighbors'
know
businesses.
how you can use this as an argument to say it's okay to take the Senate and the House, threaten
I'm not
the
saying
lives.
it's okay.
Put
but
up
the
a.
right
Oh, I
has-
didn't
The
see.
right has not. They have not.
I didn't
those
see any
people
gibbets
are-
put up in Kenosha.
They
No
were-
one was threatened to be hung. There were no pipe bombs that I saw.
Yeah.
They,
There was homemade bombs being thrown in all the businesses. That's how they were starting them.
well, you don't know
The
that.
fires. Oh my. Okay.
You don't.
We watched one
Yeah.
go
Oh,
in flame.
you saw a pipe bomb thrown?
No,
and go off?
the fire.
You saw a fire. Well,
And
thank you.
the
Very
right
nice.
has not.
But that's-
the right is not saying that the people that stormed the Capitol that they are.
Oh, they
having
were-
nothing to do with
they
that.
had nothing to
They
do with-
all-
those Trump
they
flags,
all need to be charged.
Those were
They
all
need
fake
to-
flags. They
just
put
be-
those in with computer
just because
animation,
some
I'm
whack
sure.
jobs.
Oh, some
went-
whack jobs.
Because
huh?
of some whack jobs who decided they were going to take the stance and go crazy with that side. Most of them are not like that. That was the only riot that ever happened with
Becomes
all the
almost
rallies, with all of the,
impossible
and
to-
thousands of people would come to those. And one time, the people had a group, and they planned it well ahead of time.
Yeah,
before.
well, so what? So they still had help from the White House in planning it well ahead of time. So what?
No one has condoned what happened at the Capitol. It was horrible. They need to be charged. They will be charged, and they will be charged the full extent of the law.
Well, I think they did
And
a really
the
good
same
job
needs to be done
of
for the
showing that
left
Trump
side.
did nothing. He did not send the National Guard. He did not send any help of any type.
Yeah, he tried.
He celebrated
they
while
turned
it
it
was
down.
going on. Everybody
he tried.
who was there
they
said
turned
so.
it down. They
Who
tried.
turned it down? You can't turn
The
down the
Capitol,
president.
the Capitol Police were turning it down left and right. They didn't.
They
want
weren't
the
letting them help.
They didn't want them to help. They were offered over and
president-
over and over again.
The Capitol Police have nothing to do with the National Guard. If the president says the National Guard goes, then
They
they
tried
go.
to send them. They tried.
There are generals that need to have their careers
tried.
ended who were part of that whole thing. And there were a lot of bad decisions made, but a lot of it was the lack of leadership, if that's the very least you want to say. So I hope Biden does a better job. He hasn't been in long enough for us to see that.
Well-
But things are nicer and gentler now that Biden is in. And quieter, I might offer, except in
Yeah,
little,
because we don't
little-
get to know anything. He
except
just.
in little old Lake Geneva, where we still have the problem with the American flags with the blue line through them that are on the construction trucks, which are a symbol of white supremacy going back a long way. And
that
we
only
don't need
was
to see
created
that.
since this election. White supremacy has never been as prominent as it is now, and it's
Oh,
only
really?
the left keeps
Have you
saying
ever
it.
heard of
The left
Nazi
keeps saying it.
Germany?
If you say it is over and
White
over and over
supremacy
again,
was a
people
big deal.
will believe it.
Nazi Germany, white supremacy. Let's just go back to World War II.
That's not what's happening here.
No.
What happened there? You just said white supremacy hadn't happened in the past. It sure as hell
But I didn't
has.
say it hadn't
Not-
That
happened in
symbol
the
needs
No.
to go. It should
That's
not be.
not what I said.
And today we had 3 veterans call in, all complaining that they want American flags on those trucks or none at all. And I think that, and they're going to call the mayor and they're going to call other city officials. And I think that the GSR is behind that a cause should be built up to say, fine, fly it in your front yard if you want that flag, but you don't put it on city property. You don't make it a public thing. All right, it's the American flag, not anybody else's flag, and that means it's all of our flag. So you don't get to put your purple or your blue or your yellow line down the center of it, not and have it represent the population. There, that's what
And I
I
agree,
think.
it shouldn't be on city property.
Well, thank you very much. It's the only agreement I've gotten you out of you this morning. But I think your hair looks fine.
Oh, God.
Thank you, George.
Let's wrap it up.
Okay.
Yep.
Are we ready?
Well, I don't see why not.
Okay, we're gonna go back to liking each other now. Thanks for watching, everyone.
I'm not sure about that.
We
I'm
did,
a little
we
scared
did.
behind the
I
camera,
know,
but
right?
okay.
You got a little heated today.
Anyway, I'm George Belushi Jr., left jab.
I'm Lysotto, right cross.
Right hook, it's not right
Oh
cross.
no.
You can't even get
a
that
right
right.
cross follows a left.
Okay, I'm Jen Lepkowski behind the camera. We're good.
A right hook isn't what follows.